Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So we're coming up towards the end of February and spring's right round the corner. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a tour around the garden, show you exactly where we're at the start of the year, see the state of the garden after Storm Otto, and we'll see how this garden progresses over the year, and I'll give you some of the ideas of some of the plans that I've got for this year as well. So I picked up a couple of bags of manure. We need to do another trip in order for me to get my other project underway, and you'll know what that is when that's coming up soon. Over the last couple of days we've had some serious winds. Some of the plants have been blown about. Oh. And you can generally see how bad some of the state of some of the garden is as well. So let's go down and have a look at the rest of the damage. The garden's in an absolute mess. The kid slide's been thrown up here. Let's see, fix this up and reattach this. But already you can see one arch is collapsed, it's down. Another arch over there is down, it's gone. So that's two arches completely gone. It's a shame. I mean, the good thing about that one is the top part's still attached, and I can fix that and we'll put that back up. But the garden's in a general mess at the moment. One of the things that I want to do this year or in the next couple of weeks is fix this garden path. I've got a couple of ideas about it. Now what I want to do is I want to fix it in a way where I can collect all the watershed. So any water that runs off the drive, runs off any bit of the concrete, or even runs off this grass, I want to be able to channel it down here. And I want to drive it, instead of all ending up in front of my greenhouse, I want to channel it down the garden and into some drainage ditches, into some essentially swales that I'm going to dig. So into the first greenhouse, and we've got onions away, broad beans are coming up really nicely, and I'm quite happy with the way the onions are coming up. We're missing a few there, but all of those have come up really well. And my peas are coming on quite nicely as well. So that's a nice thing to see. Because the days are getting a little bit warmer, we're going to get really sowing very soon. We'll get really active with our sowing pretty soonish. I've still got a couple of pots of potatoes to harvest. Now they really need to be coming up very soon, because if I leave them much longer they're going to end up sprouting, and I don't want them to sprout because I want to eat them. You saw me make this raised bed at the end of last year. My mum sprinkled, just thrown a load of wood ash on here. We'll sprinkle that in and allow that to break down with the compost. But this bed is going to be a new growing area. I haven't decided on what to plant here yet. That cat, every time I pick that hay up and put it away, that cat decides to come down and pull it all out. So it's a battle that I've got going on with that cat at the moment, but we'll figure it out. This arch I need to get back up, but instead of sticking these thin bits in, I might actually put my hands in my pockets and redo these arches properly and make them into some structures that are going to last me for a good few years to come. Although I'm recycling, that energy is just, it's a lot of energy to put in all the time. And that's what brings me on to my next tragedy. This is what's happened after Storm Otto from yesterday. It's just completely wrecked the place. You can still feel some of the winds. It's not as severe, but look at this. This arch I built last year, it was really good, really strong, solid arch. Looked fine, but the winds have just completely wrecked it. Which is really is gutting actually. It's really disappointing. I mean, this arch needs taking down. It's quite rotten. So we'll take this arch down and we're going to build up. We're going to build something proper, something a bit more solid. I mean, some people have suggested getting scaffolding poles. Now, scaffolding poles would be fantastic if I could get hold of them. What we've done with this greenhouse is we've completely cleared it out. We've got it into shape for this growing season, and the details of exactly what I've done in here is on Patreon, and you'll see the video going up on Patreon anytime now as well. My garlic in this bed has come up really nicely. It's looking quite strong. It's recovering after winter very well. It did look quite pale and a bit limp. You can see some of the leaves looking a bit burnt at the end, and that's mainly wind damage. So don't worry about things like that. If you're seeing that yellowing on your garlic at this time of the year, it is mainly wind damage. And look at the way I've planted my garlic. So I've got an L shape. So I've got a garlic across there, garlic up there, and then I've got a patch of garlic down that side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant courgettes or something down here, or whatever I plant, I'm going to plant here that's going to be easy to pick and easy to harvest. They're going to stay there for a very long time, so I'm going to forget about them. I've got a little corner there that I can plant a tomato in. So I've got this patch of garlic in the middle. It's like 4 bulbs across and however many are up. I'm going to plant a line of tomatoes up here, and then I'm going to, yeah, right into the ground. So every year I come to this wheelbarrow and I say it's going to be the last year I use it because it's really in a bad state. Pretty much rotten through, but we'll probably get one more year out of it. Let's see. I had sweet corn here last year and I had squash going across the bottom, so I'll probably put some peas or beans around here. Maybe lots and lots of dwarf French beans. That'll probably be the one that I go for here, just to give a different type of plant, a different type of root structure, a different type of feed requirement to the soil, and it'll replenish that soil a bit. Now, because we're positioned right at the top of a hill, we get the winds really bad. The wind whips up this garden pretty bad, and it really causes havoc on our house. We did have a line of ash trees here that because of a neighbourly dispute, that neighbour at the bottom did try and take a load of land from our garden, and in order to get our fence line straight again, those ash trees had to be removed. It was all probably for a good reason, because we've got ash dieback in the area, and quite a few trees very close to us have had to be taken out because of ash dieback. I've got my apple trees and I've got my pear trees, and I'm growing them straight up, and I'm growing them quite tall so I can protect myself from the wind. Now, we still have got a couple of sycamores, and look at that sycamore. That's the work that Moz has done. So I'm going to leave some clips at the end of this video on the work that Moz did on working on that sycamore tree and how he got it into shape. My plan was to do a specific video just on that, but because of the way I recorded it and we lost all the sound and everything just got messed up, I've not been able to do a specific video, but I'll do a video and you'll see the clips of it at the end of this video on how he got that into shape. You might not be able to see it under these branches, but one of the things that I've done in preparation for where I'm going to grow my potatoes this year is I've stacked my wood chips already. So I've got a good level of wood chip on here, so quite deep, quite thick layer of wood chip. It is a bit messy, so I'll get this tidied up. So this is the footpath that I'm saving, and once I've got this bed tidied up, this is where I'm going to be planting potatoes early March time. I'm slowly bringing the wood chip down from the top of the garden. I'm piling it down here, and in the meantime I'm harvesting as much compost as I can. Whenever I get a chance, I'm coming out here and I'm sifting a few barrows of I'm sifting off some compost. So right now it's prep time, right? So in preparation for the growing season, I'm coming down here and I'm sifting off compost. This is all homemade compost, freshly made this year, and that's all going to be used for potting up stuff. When I'm sifting my compost, I'm putting a wheelbarrow in, I'm putting a handful of either chicken manure in here, or I'm putting in a little bit of horse manure in here, and then I'm putting another wheelbarrow on top, and that's just going to compost down, and it's just going to give it that additional boost. Particularly if you've got old compost and you can stack it like this, then add in a little bit of fresh manure and you just reinvigorate it. Now these compost bays, they've definitely had it. They've lived their useful life. These pallets are well and truly rotten. They're well and truly gone. I'm going to finish harvesting this compost that's left in this bay, and I'm going to finish harvesting the compost in there. And once I've done the compost harvest, hopefully we'll get this corner cleared out. It's been on my radar for the last couple of years. We'll get this corner cleared out and we'll build some fresh compost bays into that corner. We're still tidying up all the branches and all the trimmings and everything that from when Moz and Graham came and helped me. Well, Moz actually did the trimming of the tree, but Graham helped me tidy everything up and get everything stacked, chop everything up really nice. So I appreciate that, guys, really do. You'll have noticed the paths that I'm walking on now, these are all wood chip. So we used to have grass paths. We used to have grass paths for lots of reasons, because it created habitat, because it sequestered carbon, it created habitat, it was a source of mulch. but because it just gets so slippy and I can't be taking risks around someone falling down this side of the garden, we're just mulching everything, making sure it's nice and safe to walk on. But if you come over here, there's more garlic planted. So I've got loads of garlic in the ground here. Garlic's looking really nice and really coming back to life. Don't worry about these old leaves that are a little bit battered. They're gonna, you know, the new growth is coming. It's gonna look a lot fresher. Because I managed to get some horse manure, I'll just sprinkle some horse manure over the top of the straw, and that'll just feed the soil. It'll break down. I haven't put loads on. Just gentle sprinklings is all you need. So garlic behind me, more garlic over here. You'll notice big patches where there's nothing planted. So that's going to be a patch for tomatoes, I think. Yeah, we didn't plant tomatoes there last year. That's going to be a patch for tomatoes. We're going to go sweet corn, I think, over this area. All of this area we'll take with sweet corn this year. Over here's where we had potatoes last year. So all of this is going to turn into, this is going to be my bed for squash this year. And that's going to be a bed for, I think we'll switch that bed to growing salads and cabbages and all that sort of thing over there this year. Because it's something different. We haven't grown that over there for a while. So I'm going to switch everything and move it over there. This could potentially be another sweet corn bed. So depending on how much sweet corn we get over there, we might plant some more sweet corn over here, but more space for salads over there. Whenever you're planting salads, one of the things that I like to do is I like to plant them in smaller beds, you know, beds that you can easily reach and grab from wherever. The longer season crops, plant them further away from reach, so you don't have to walk on beds, you don't have to do anything like that, and you can just leave them there. Depending on what we do with this gourd arch, I might even build a gourd arch that goes from here all the way down and over the top. I might go all out and put a pretty big one in. Let's just decide on what sort of budgets that we're working with this year. Yeah, it's not a good time at the moment, but let's see what sort of budgets we're working with. We might put in a big one that covers the whole garden. I mean, I wish, if you ever saw the videos that I did of my uncle's plot in Walsall, I wish I could get some scaffolding poles like he's done and build a massive sort of tunnel where he grows the gourds over the top and then he's able to grow loads and loads of crops underneath. That's ideally what I'd want to do, but we just haven't got, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. Let's see. Let's get there. Let's get there. It'd be good if I could do it. So I normally plant gourds in these tyres, and I normally plant hodous and gourds in these big buckets. So yeah, that's what normally goes in these things. But what I've done as a temporary measure is I've planted garlic. So I'm not going to be planting gourds and squash into these things until about end of May, early June. There's such a long time before these are ready to be planted into. I can get a first crop from it, you know, a long season crop. Garlic, it's going to be producing, it's going to be growing. Even if it doesn't reach to full maturity, I can get this garlic harvested a little bit younger, a little bit tender, and it'll have just worked this soil and got this bucket working, bringing into life a little bit earlier. With any soil, you want plant roots living in there. You want plant roots burying down, whether it's a pot, whether it's the ground, regardless of how it is, you want some kind of plant root, plant structure in the soil, holding it together. A couple of weeks ago we did the introduction on chicken keeping. We'll continue that series and we'll cover different aspects of chicken keeping through the season. And one of the important things very soon is you can see that this wood chip, this flooring is breaking down really nice. So I think it's going to be time that we did a harvest of chicken compost very soon. And if you remember when I made that bed, I harvested pretty much everything out of here. So first week of March, I think we'll harvest some chicken compost, and that'll give us a chance to get more wood chip off the drive and into here. That's a good plan, I think. We're down to the lowest number of chickens we've ever had. We've got 3 hens, and the rooster's doing a great job of roostering. On the bonus side, we've got an egg. So let's just get some shots of the big tree before it starts getting amended or reduced a little bit. See, it's a gorgeous tree. but just needs a little bit of tidying up. It's causing too much of a shadow on their garden and too much of a shadow on their garden. So we're just going to give it a little tidy. Moz is here. Moz, gives a wave. He's going to get up there. He'll tell us what he's doing. He's a lumberjack, tree surgeon. The guy knows what he's doing, so he'll explain to us how we can reduce this tree and give it a little bit of a tidy without harming the tree. So Moz has decided to cheat a bit by using the ladders. But look at him, off he goes up the tree like a monkey. Moz, what kind of key opens a banana? What kind of key opens a banana? A monkey.
I should have known that. That was in your chat all week.
It's a good healthy tree, isn't it?
Yeah. Bit dead.
Here, chuck it, I'll catch it. Do you need me to do out?
No, you're right.
I'm not sure what I can do while you're up at the top of a tree from down here. Moral support. He's got some guts, hasn't he? Here we go, he's starting. We've got Mr. Graham Bolton who's come out to help us as well. Look at that. Say hello, Graham.
Hello.
And Moz is doing a fine job on that tree. He's given it a nice trim. Already loads of lights coming through. You can see, you know, he's thinned it out. So we're going to get loads of light up in there. He's still at the top of that tree, just climbing it. I'll tell you now, I won't do that.
Say hello.
There you go.
Hi.
But it's taking shape. We'll still get a lot of light coming through, but it forms an important barrier for the wind. But it's kept a lot of the original shape. That's a good thing. So there's a really awkward branch that's got stuck. He's hanging on. And look at that. It was on 1 foot a second ago, with us leaning out like doing some kind of crane move, do you know, from Karate Kid.
Oh, guys. That branch.
There we go. There's another branch stuck just there. That's going to come down when the wind blows and javelin someone. So what Moz was explaining here was any type of tree surgery isn't good for a tree. So what you want to do, the reason that we're doing it is simply because the tree's got too big for where it's supposed to be. And especially in a backyard setting, if that catches a gust of wind and it comes down, and some of the dead wood comes down in those hard winds, then it could potentially be dangerous. So delimbing it and trimming it back and uplifting the crown like this is going to give us an opportunity for that tree to stay there for another 100 years, because it's going to allow light into the bottom. It's going to not catch the wind as much, so it's not going to die as easily or break off as easily. And you can also see Graham lending us a hand, chopping back all the wood, chopping back all the trees, and chopping back all the branches, and stacking all the wood. But it's a shame that the sound didn't record, because he tells a mean joke